All right, good afternoon, everyone. We are going to go ahead and call to order the November 25th, 2025, 1 p.m. Canvassing Board certification meeting for the November 4th, 2025 general election. I am Canvassing Board Member Julie Wise, your elected King County Director of Elections. And with me, I have Canvassing Board Member Kimberly Frederick, Chief Civil Deputy in the Prosecuting Attorney's Office, and Stephanie Sirkovich, Chief of Staff to the King County Council. We are staffed today by Geraldine Hampton, our King County Elections Interim Deputy Director. This meeting is being recorded and live streamed via the King County Elections Facebook page and will be uploaded to our YouTube channel after this meeting. We will be hearing from Geraldine Hampton with an overview of this election.
Good afternoon, everybody. For our summary of election events, we'll start out with turnout. So going into this election, we projected 45%, and we ended up a little bit above that at 45.8% turnout. We can compare that back to 2023 general election. We only had 37.9%, and in the 2021 election, general election, we had 44% turnout. Our active voter registration count is at 1,444,000 or so. And that translates into ballots returned being just over 661,000 ballots. For drop box activity, we had all 85 locations up for the election. Those drop box returns came in at 67% of our total return, so over 444,000 ballots at our drop boxes alone. As normal, Ballard Library was the most active drop box with nearly 16,000 ballots. And new Seattle Central College came in at second place with nearly 13,000 ballots. And 58% of our total Dropbox ballots came in on election day itself. For vote center activity, we had Renton headquarters open 20 days before the general election to help our voters. We opened an additional 6 locations the weekend before the election. At those locations, we issued over 2,200 ballots to voters, and 78% of that activity happened on election day. For challenge ballots, as you know, reasons we might challenge a ballot include a missing or mismatched signature on the declaration, or the ballot was returned too late to be counted, or perhaps the identity of the voter has not been validated. We ended this election with just under 6,400 mail ballot challenges. Of those, around 57% were returned too late to be counted. At certification today, we have almost 2,700 signature challenges remaining. This is 0.41% of total ballot returns. And we had a good turnout for cures, people curing their signature issues. We had 61% of voters who were initially challenged. They did, in fact, return a cure form or additional information for us so that we could cure their ballot. At this point, I would like to present to the board item E-4001, which is a list of 6,363 challenged ballots for rejection.
I move that we reject the ballots on that list.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Moving on to provisional ballots, we did receive 7 provisional ballots from voters. 6 were from people who were not registered to vote, and 1 was from a person whose handwriting was completely illegible. So now I would like to present to the board item PV-8001, which is 7 provisional ballots for rejection.
I move that we reject the ballots on that list.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to prior election ballots. So between and during every single election, we receive ballots from prior elections. For each piece we receive, we're going to open the envelope to ensure the voter did not accidentally return a current ballot in an old envelope. For this election, we received 282 of those. So at this point, I would like to present to the board item E-4000, which is a list of 282 prior election ballots for rejection.
I move that we reject the ballots on that list.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, a ballot alert update. We've added almost 5,000 ballot alert subscribers since our last election in August. That brings us to almost 154,000 subscribers, which is awesome. These alerts are text or email notifications that voters can opt into and they'll receive alerts when their ballot is mailed out to them, received by our office, signature is verified, or if appropriate, if there's a signature challenge. We even send a reminder alert the Thursday before the election to remind folks to turn in their ballot. Voters who signed up for these alerts had a 65% turnout rate for this election, as compared with the overall, just nearing 46%. So very exciting there. Temporary election employees. We hired 300 additional staff as temporary employees to help out our crew of full-time permanent staff. We regularly hire folks for a variety of jobs, including customer service, ballot processing, data entry, among other activities. So huge thank you to all of those extra folks. We couldn't get through the election without them. We had a pretty good observer turnout this round. We had 26 folks go through the 2-hour observer orientation and had 111 observer visits throughout this election cycle. So that was really nice to have that participation. Moving on to post-election audits. This election, we had our 6th statewide random compliance check for signatures that do not match. So Friday, November 14th, the Secretary of State drew 374 signatures from across the state for the counties to audit. King received 126 of those challenges to audit. During our review, we found 3 signatures that we cured due to updating the signature after the envelope review process was complete. So we reported those findings to the Secretary of State's office. Each election, we also conduct a post-election audit called a batch audit. This is where we randomly select 6 batches of ballots and do a hand count of a randomly selected contest. We compare those hand count numbers to the tally that came from the tabulation system to prove to ourselves and any observers that the votes are being counted as they should be. So Thursday of election week, we audited the Senate Joint Resolution 8201 measure and found 0 discrepancies. We did yet another post-election audit. This was our 17th risk limiting audit. This audit was conducted on Wednesday, November 19th, and was in addition to the batch audit that I just described. As a reminder, a risk limiting audit is another type of post-election review. In this case, however, we're taking a random sample of individually voted ballots, not batches, and again, comparing the votes on the marked ballot against the tabulated votes. This type of audit is intended to give us statistical confidence that the winner is truly the winner. The selected contest was, again, Senate Joint Resolution 8201. There were 16 ballots identified for King County to audit. We had no discrepancies, and this was, in fact, another statewide audit. So all counties except for one participated in this round of risk limiting audit. Something we haven't had for a while is a write-in canvassing report to the canvassing board. So the town of Skykomish Council position number 3 in this election had a declared write-in candidate named Jeff Holden, who won this contest. The printed candidate, Daniel J. Cassidy, received 22 votes. The declared write-in candidate, Jeff Holden, received 49 votes. There were 4 other write-in votes for non-declared candidates. State law tells us that throughout the election, we are to keep track of how many true write-ins we have for each and every contest. We will only canvass who is written in on the write-in line if there's enough, if there is, number 1, a declared write-in candidate in that contest, and number 2, the total number of write-in votes is enough to win that race. So that's why we did the canvassing in this instance. Looking back in history, I saw in 2011 in the general election, we had a declared write-in candidate, Cy Sun, who won the City of Pacific mayoral contest back then. So we don't have a lot of this happening. Recounts. As of certification, we have 1 contest in mandatory recount range, mandatory machine recount range, I'm sorry. To fall within that threshold, there must be less than 2,000 votes apart between the candidates, and also less than 0.5% of the total number of votes cast for both of those candidates. So it is City of Kenmore Council position number 2. There are 7,800 ballots total counted in that contest. Between the 2 candidates, Tracy Bianiski and Joe Marshall, there's a 24 vote difference between those 2 candidates, and the percent difference is 0.4%, so it falls under that 0.5% difference threshold. In a machine recount, we must visually inspect all of the undervotes, and we do so looking at images in the tabulation system. What we're doing is confirming that no vote was missed for either of the candidates. We anticipate conducting this and any other requested recounts we might get after the deadline to request has passed. So the deadline to request a recount from the county is on Monday, December 1st. The deadline to request a recount from the Secretary of State's office is Monday, December 8th. So more to come on recounts. I am very happy to say we are reconciled, and this is now our 40th election in a row with 0 discrepancies. So we put a lot of work into this election to get there. So great job to the team. Looking forward, our next election is the February 10th special election. Our first canvassing board meeting is scheduled for Thursday, February 19th at 2 p.m. And then, as promised, a fun fact for each election. For this election, we received more ballots at our drop boxes on election day during this general election than we have in the last 5 years of general elections. It was 255,000 ballots just at drop boxes, just on election day. So looking back, of course, that includes 2 different presidential elections, and yet still we got more ballots at our drop boxes on election day than the past 5 years. So that's the fun fact for today. And that is my summary of election events for this general election.
So Julie, I will now read you the oath of authenticity. It reads, I solemnly swear that the unofficial returns and supporting documentation of the general election held on November 4th, 2025 in King County, state of Washington are true and correct.
I do. The next up is the oath. The undersigned officers designated by law as constituting the canvassing board for the County of King, State of Washington, hereby certify that this is a full, true, and correct copy of the abstract of votes, including the number of registered eligible voters, cumulative results, precinct results, and report of votes cast at the general election held on November 4th, 2025 in King County, state of Washington.
I do.
I do. All right, the board has officially certified this general election. I'd like to give a huge thank you to all of our King County voters, especially turning out in this important election. And thank you to our amazing, dedicated, diligent, trained, exceptional team here at King County Elections for another reconciled election full of accessibility, transparency, and accuracy. Lastly, thank you, Geraldine, so much. Really appreciate you and our King County Canvassing Board for your time and thoughtful review of voter intent this election. We will see you all again in February of 2026 for our February special election. Any further business for us today?
No.
This meeting on November 25, 2025, certification meeting is adjourned at 1:15 p.m.